Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pause for a second and think about this. Who's really in control of your life? Is it you, or is it that restless voice inside your head that never stops talking? The truth is, most people are not living their lives. They're living their minds. They're slaves to the noise, the doubts, the fears, the endless stories that repeat like broken records. And here's the scary part. Your mind, if left uncontrolled, can become your greatest enemy. It can convince you you're not good enough, that your dreams are too big, that your pain defines you. But I need you to hear this. The same mind that can destroy you can also build you into someone unstoppable. The same mind that whispers lies can be trained to shout the truth. The same mind that pulls you down can be mastered to lift you up. And if you don't learn to control it, it will control you. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every extraordinary life begins in one place, your mind. If you master your mind, you master your emotions. If you master your emotions, you master your decisions. And if you master your decisions, you master your destiny. So today, I'm going to take you on a journey, not out there into the world, but in here, into the command center of your life. I'm going to show you how to break free from the prison of negative thinking, how to reclaim your focus, how to rewire the beliefs that have been holding you back for years. Because once you control your mind, you unlock a level of freedom, clarity, and power most people never experience. Stay with me, because the person you've always wanted to become, the life you've always dreamed of, it's on the other side of learning to control your mind. Think about this for a moment. Your mind is either the most powerful weapon you'll ever hold or the most dangerous prison you'll ever live in. And the difference between those two realities comes down to one thing: whether you've taken control of it, whether you've handed the keys away. Most people don't realize how much of their lives are run not by their conscious choices, but by the patterns of thought they've allowed to loop in their head. It's like being stuck on a treadmill that never shuts off, running the same programs of fear, doubt, anger, hesitation over and over again, and then wondering why life feels so heavy. You're not broken. You're not unlucky. You're not doomed. You're simply trapped inside a mind that hasn't been trained yet. And until you make the decision to recognize this truth, that mind will keep controlling you, limiting you, and keeping you far from who you were designed to be. Have you ever noticed how quickly your mind can turn on you? One moment you're feeling excited about an opportunity, and the next, that little voice creeps in and whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not ready? Will people think? And suddenly you're paralyzed, you don't act, you retreat. And then you justify it by saying the timing wasn't right, or you'll try again later, or maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But none of that is true. Really happened is simple. You let your mind win. You let it bully you into submission. But here's the shift I want you to feel in your bones. You are not your mind. You are the one who directs it. You are the commander, not the servant. And mind is a tool just like fire. In the hands of someone conscious and disciplined, fire warms, cooks, and creates life. In the hands of someone careless, fire destroys everything in its path. Your mind is the same. If you learn to command it, it will ignite a life beyond anything you can imagine. If you ignore it, it will burn down your dreams before they even have a chance to live. The first step to taking back control is awareness. You've got to catch yourself in the act of letting your mind run the show. Catch the excuses, catch the fears, catch the stories. Most people don't slow down enough to even notice what's happening inside. They just react. Something goes wrong. They react with anger. Something feels uncertain and they react with fear. Someone criticizes them and they react with self-doubt. It's automatic. But awareness allows you to step back and say, wait a second, this thought isn't me. This is just a program I've been running. Do I want to keep it or do I want to change it? That pause, that moment of awareness is the beginning of freedom. You've got to recognize the patterns your mind has been playing on repeat. Because let's be real, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your patterns. If your mind is trained to look for danger, you'll always see fear. If your mind is trained to look for problems, you'll always feel stuck. If your mind is trained to relieve pain, you'll always feel powerless. But when you train your mind to seek possibility, to focus on what you can do, to remember your strength instead of your scars, your entire experience of life shifts instantly. I want to be honest with you, this isn't easy at first, because your mind has years, maybe decades of practice running wild. It's like trying to tame a wild horse. At first, it bucks, it resists, it wants to throw you off. The more consistent you are, the more disciplined you become, the more that wild power becomes an ally. That horse that once tried to throw you can now carry you faster and further than you could ever go on foot. That's the transformation waiting for you when you stop letting your mind run free and start mastering it. Think of the greatest battles you've ever faced in your life. Maybe it was a financial crisis. Maybe it was a broken relationship. Maybe it was a loss that shook you to your core. And yet, if you look back, wasn't the hardest part, not the situation itself, but the storm in your own head. It wasn't the event. It was the meaning your mind attached to it. The endless questions, the doubts, the fears, the hopeless stories, and yet the moments you broke through, the moments you rose, came when you decided to change the meaning, when you said, this will not break me, this will build me. That decision, that shift in your mind is what allowed you to endure, to grow, to rise. So if your mind has the power to drag you into despair, it also has the power to pull you into strength. If it has the power to make you hesitate, it also has the power to make you act with courage. Weapon and the prison are the same thing. It just depends on how you use it. Now, let's make this practical. Starting today, I want you to begin noticing how often you let your mind dominate you. Notice how quickly it convinces you that you can't, that you shouldn't, that you'll fail. And in those moments, instead of believing it, challenge it, ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this just fear disguised as logic? Because most of the time, it's not truth. It's just a story. When you learn to call out those stories, they lose their grip on you. Every single breakthrough in your life will come down to a moment when you stop letting your mind tell you who you are, and you start telling it who you are. You stop waiting for it to give you permission, and you start commanding it to serve you. When you stop being a prisoner of your thoughts and you start being the master of them, and if you can do that, if you can recognize your mind as the most powerful weapon you'll ever hold, you'll stop living in fear of it, and you'll start using it to create a life beyond your imagination. Because at the end of the day, you either control your mind or it controls you. Once you've recognized that your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest prison, the next step is breaking free from the automatic patterns that have been running your life. This is where most people struggle, not because they're weak, not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because they don't even realize they're trapped inside loops that are dictating everything they feel, everything they do, and ultimately everything they become. Think about how your days usually unfold. You wake up, and almost instantly your mind pulls you into the same thoughts you had yesterday. You think about what's missing in your life. You didn't do what could go wrong. You reach for your phone, scroll through everyone else's life, and before you've even had breakfast, your nervous system is already programmed into stress, comparison, or doubt. And the worst part, you don't even question it because it feels normal. You just assume, this is how I am. But it's not who you are. It's just a pattern that has repeated itself so many times it feels like the truth. These patterns are invisible chains. They show up as the excuses you give yourself when opportunity knocks. They show up as the hesitation in your body when fear sneaks in. They show up as the anger or resentment you can't shake, even though it's been years. The danger of these patterns is that they become so automatic, you don't even see them as choices anymore. You just live inside them as if they're permanent walls around your life. But they're not walls. They're illusions. Stories on repeat. And the moment you decide to interrupt them, you begin to discover a level of freedom you've forgotten even existed. Let me ask you, how many times have you wanted to take action, start a business, pick up the phone, ask for the promotion, speak your truth, but instead you stopped yourself and then you wrapped it in logic. You said, the timing isn't right. I don't want to make a mistake. I'll do it next month. And it sounds reasonable. Sounds intelligent, but what really happened, you let an old pattern take the wheel, a pattern of hesitation, a pattern of self-doubt, and every time you obey it, you make that pattern stronger. You teach your nervous system that avoidance equals safety. And so tomorrow when opportunity comes again, you'll hesitate again because the brain loves certainty, even if it costs you your dreams. But you don't have to live that way. The truth is, every pattern can be broken the moment you interrupt it. Interruption doesn't require years. It requires a decision. It requires a willingness to break the script, to do something different in the moment. You feel that old program kicking in. You feel fear rising in your chest. Stand up, move your body, breathe differently, shout out loud if you have to. Shock the system. Create a disruption so strong that your brain can't keep playing the same old record. Because once you create a break, you create choice. And in that space, you can choose a new thought, a new action, a new story. It's like hacking the code of your own mind. You don't change a program by thinking about it. You change it by disrupting it and installing something new. And here's the beauty. Every time you replace an old reaction with a new one, you rewire your nervous system. The more you do it, the stronger the new pattern becomes until one day, what used to be impossible becomes automatic. But I'll tell you what most people do instead. They wait for the fear to go away before they act. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, and the perfect certainty. And while they wait, the old patterns grow roots deeper and deeper until they become the identity itself. If you're going to control your mind, you can't wait. You have to move in the face of fear. You have to act while your mind is screaming at you to stay still. That's how you break the chains. Not by wishing, not by hoping, by acting differently in the very moment the old pattern shows up. Think about someone who's been angry for years. Maybe they were hurt, betrayed, abandoned. And now every little inconvenience sets them off like a volcano. That's not who they are. It's just a pattern their mind has rehearsed so many times it fires instantly. But the moment that person decides, I'm not living as a prisoner of this anymore, and they breathe instead of exploding. They speak calmly instead of yelling. They redirect their energy instead of dumping it. The pattern weakens, it loses its power, and every repetition of the new response builds strength until the old one becomes nothing but a memory. The same is true for fear, for procrastination, for self-sabotage, for any habit of thought or behavior that has been holding you back. You are not chained to it. You are simply conditioned by it. And what has been conditioned can be reconditioned, has been learned can be unlearned. But only if you stop living on autopilot and start becoming intentional about what you allow your mind to practice every single day. The question is, are you willing to break the cycle? You willing to feel the discomfort of doing something new instead of hiding in the comfort of what's familiar? Because the truth is, patterns feel safe, even when they're destroying you. Misery can feel safe if it's all you've ever known. Doubt can feel safe if it keeps you from risking failure. But if you want a life that's extraordinary, you have to trade safety for growth. You have to be willing to break what's familiar in order to create what's possible. And let me be very clear, this is not about perfection. You're not going to erase every old pattern overnight. But if you can begin catching them, interrupting them, and replacing them one by one, you'll begin to notice something extraordinary. Your confidence grows. Clarity grows, your sense of power grows. And soon the chains that used to feel unbreakable will start to feel like threads you can snap with ease. So when that old story shows up, the one that says, I shouldn't fail, don't argue with it, don't analyze it, don't bow to it, interrupt it. Move your body, change your breath, say something different out loud, take an action that goes against it. Because in that moment, you're not just breaking a pattern, you're building a new identity. You're telling your mind, I am in charge here, not you. And the more you do that, the more you prove to yourself that your past patterns do not define your future possibilities. Not your hesitation. You are not your excuses. You are not your pain. You are the one who chooses what comes next. And when you embrace that truth, you no longer live as a prisoner of your mind. You live as its master. Because the moment you break the pattern, you break the chain. If you've recognized the power of your mind and you've started breaking free from those automatic patterns that once held you hostage, then the next piece is learning to train your focus. Because let me tell you, focus is everything. Where focus goes, energy flows. And whatever you feed with your focus grows stronger in your life. Most people don't lose because they don't have potential. They don't fail because they lack intelligence. They don't get stuck because they're not capable. They get stuck because their focus is trapped in the wrong place. They're busy focusing on what they don't have instead of what they do. Fixated on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. They keep replaying old wounds instead of creating new possibilities. And the tragic part is this, your mind doesn't know the difference between what you focus on internally and what's actually happening in reality. If you focus long enough on fear, your body will feel fear as if it's real. If you focus long enough on doubt, your energy will drop as if you're already defeated. Focus doesn't just direct your thoughts. It shapes your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the same situation and have completely different experiences? One loses a job and falls into despair, saying, this is the end, I'll never recover. The other loses the same job and says, this is my chance, this is the push I needed to finally pursue what I love. Same event, same circumstances, but a completely different outcome. Why? Because their focus was different. One focused on loss, the other focused on possibility. The meaning they created from that focus shaped the direction of their life. That's the power you hold every single day. You cannot control everything that happens around you, but you can always control what you choose to focus on. In that choice lies your freedom. Because let's be real, if you focus on everything that's missing, you'll live in scarcity. If you focus on everything that's wrong, you'll live in stress. If you focus on everything you can't control, you'll live in frustration. But if you focus on what's within your control, if you focus on the opportunities in front of you, if you focus on the blessings you already have, you'll live in strength, gratitude, and growth. And here's the truth. Your brain is hardwired to look for danger, to look for problems, to look for what's wrong. That's a survival instinct. Thousands of years ago, it kept us alive, but today it often keeps us stuck. Because if you let that instinct run unchecked, you'll spend your life scanning for threats that aren't even there, living in a constant state of fear and stress. You've got to take back the steering wheel of your focus. You've got to train it to work for you, not against you. How do you do that? By becoming intentional, by asking yourself in every moment, what am I focusing on right now? Is it empowering me or is it draining me? Is it making me stronger or is it making me weaker? Most people never stop to ask those questions. They just react. But awareness creates choice. And when you choose to redirect your focus, you begin to reshape your entire reality. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're facing a challenge. Your business is struggling. Your relationship feels shaky. Your health isn't where you want it to be. Now you can focus on the problem. You can obsess over how bad things are, how unfair life is, how stuck you feel. And the more you focus there, the heavier it becomes, the more powerless you feel, the less action you take. Or you can shift your focus. You can ask, what can I learn from this? What can I do right now to move forward? What's one small step I can take today to turn this around? And the moment you shift that focus, energy changes, your emotions shift, and suddenly you're not stuck anymore, you're moving. Because focus is not just mental, it's emotional fuel. If you've ever watched an athlete before a big game, you'll notice their eyes, their body, their entire state of being is locked in. They're not distracted by the crowd, the noise, or the pressure. They're focused on the outcome, the mission, the goal. That's why they perform at such a high level. But here's the secret. You don't have to be an athlete to live like that. You just have to decide that your focus belongs to you, not to every distraction, every setback, every negative thought that tries to hijack it. And let's talk about distractions for a second. Because we live in a world designed to steal your focus. Every notification, every headline, every scroll, every little buzz in your pocket, it's all pulling at your attention. And if you don't take control, focus will be scattered across 1,000 meaningless things while the life you want slips further away. You've got to train your mind like a muscle to say no to what doesn't matter so you can say yes to what does. Because where your focus goes, that's where your life goes. It's not about ignoring reality. It's not about pretending challenges don't exist. It's about choosing where to put your energy so you can actually change reality. If all you do is focus on the storm, you'll never see the path forward. But if you focus on the steps you can take, the resources you can use, the strength you still have, you'll find a way through. Because energy follows focus, and action follows energy. Think back on the best moments of your life, the times you felt alive, unstoppable, proud. Weren't those the moments when your focus was laser sharp? When you weren't distracted by fear, when you weren't second guessing, when you were fully present, fully alive, fully locked in, the mandem. That's what happens when your mind is aligned with your focus. And the good news is you can create that state more often, not by waiting for the perfect conditions, but by training your focus every day. It might start simple. When you wake up in the morning, instead of reaching for your phone and flooding your brain with noise, take 60 seconds to focus on what you're grateful for. Shift your energy before the world has a chance to hijack it. During the day, when stress shows up, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn or how can I grow? That one shift in focus transforms stress into strength. And when you're chasing your goals, focus on how far you still have to go. Focus on how far you've come, on the progress you're making, on the fact that you're still moving forward when so many people stopped. That's how you train your focus, moment by moment, decision by decision, choosing to put your energy where it empowers you, not where it drains you. And here's the most powerful part. The more you train your focus, the more natural it becomes. What used to feel like effort becomes automatic. Your brain learns to scan for opportunities instead of obstacles, for growth instead of fear, for strength instead of weakness. And when that becomes your default, your entire life transforms, not because the world changed, but because your focus did. So remember this, your focus is the ultimate filter of your reality. Whatever you dwell on, you become. Whatever you magnify multiplies. And if you truly want to control your mind, you must master your focus. Because where focus goes, energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life follows. Once you learn to direct your focus, the next step is to understand the deeper force that shapes your entire reality, your beliefs. Because your beliefs are like the operating system of your mind. They're the hidden codes that determine how you think, how you feel, and how you act. And the truth is, you don't see life as it is. You see life as you are, filtered through the beliefs you hold. Every decision you've ever made, every risk you've ever taken or avoided was influenced by what you believed about yourself and the world. If you believe you're capable, you take action. If you believe you're not, you hold back. If you believe people can't be trusted, you shut yourself off from connection. If you believe opportunity is everywhere, you lean into life with courage. The beliefs you carry are shaping your destiny, whether you recognize them or not. The challenge is, most of your beliefs weren't consciously chosen. They were handed to you from your parents, your culture, your past experiences, your failures, your successes, even random moments when life hurt you. Maybe someone told you when you were young, you'll never amount to anything, and you believed it. Maybe you tried something big once, it didn't work out, and you turned that into a belief of, I'm not good enough. Maybe you grew up hearing money is evil or success is for other people. And now you wonder why you sabotage yourself every time things start going well. These aren't truths, they're stories. But the danger is once you accept a belief as truth, your mind will do everything in its power to keep proving it to you. Think about that. If you believe you're not smart enough, your brain will filter out opportunities that could prove otherwise. If you believe you're destined to fail, ignore evidence of your progress and magnify your mistakes. If you believe you're unlovable, you'll interpret every neutral action as rejection, even when it isn't. Your beliefs are like lenses. You put them on, suddenly they color everything you see. But here's the good news, beliefs are not permanent. They are not carved into stone. They are decisions you once made, consciously or unconsciously, about what's true. And because they were chosen, they can be changed. The moment you realize that, you take back your power. Because no matter how long you've carried a limiting belief, the moment you question it, the moment you challenge it, the moment you replace it, you rewrite the code of your mind. First step to reprogramming your beliefs is to expose them. Drag them out from the shadows where they hide. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself, about success, about love, about money, about what's possible for me? Write them down. Filter them, don't justify them. Be brutally honest, because you can't change what you don't face. Then ask yourself the most important question. Are these beliefs serving me or are they limiting me? Because if a belief is keeping you small, it's holding you back. If it's making you doubt yourself, then it's time to let it go. Beliefs are not facts, they're choices. And when you shift your beliefs, you shift your identity. Imagine someone who has carried the belief their whole life, not a leader. Every time an opportunity comes to step up, they shrink. Every time their voice could matter, they stay quiet, not because they lack the ability, but because their belief is chaining them. But the moment they flip that belief into, I can grow into a leader, everything changes. They start speaking up, they start practicing, they start making mistakes and learning from them. And over time, they become the very thing they once believed they could never be. All started with one shift in belief. Beliefs are self-fulfilling. If you believe you can, you'll find the courage to try. If you believe you can't, you won't even begin. And in both cases, your belief becomes reality. That's why it's so critical to feed your mind with beliefs that empower you, not destroy you. Because the world is constantly testing you, constantly throwing challenges at you. If your beliefs are weak, you'll crumble. If your beliefs are strong, you'll rise. Now, how do you build those empowering beliefs? By conditioning them, by reinforcing them daily, by surrounding yourself with evidence that supports them. You can't just say once, I believe I'm confident, and expect your life to change. You've got to feed that belief with consistent action. Speak up in the meeting, approach the stranger, take the risk. And every time you follow through, the belief grows stronger. Action is the soil where new beliefs take root. And here's the secret: you don't need to fully believe something before you act on it. You just need enough belief to try. And the act of trying begins to build the evidence that makes the belief real. It's a cycle. Belief fuels action. Action reinforces belief. And together they create momentum. That's how you reprogram your mind, not by waiting for perfect confidence, by acting in the face of doubt and proving to yourself that a new story is possible. Some of you right now are carrying beliefs that aren't even yours. They were someone else's fears, someone else's limitations, someone else's pain. Yet you've been living inside them as if they're your truth. It's time to return them. It's time to say, that's not my story. That's not my destiny. That ends with me. And then you choose new beliefs. Beliefs that serve the life you want to live. Beliefs that fuel the person you want to become. Because the person who believes they are capable show up differently than the person who believes who are doomed to fail. Person who believes they are worthy of love will create connection, while the one who believes they're unlovable will sabotage it. The person who believes opportunity is everywhere will find it, while the one who believes life is unfair will miss it. Your beliefs are writing the script of your life every single day. So the question is, are you going to keep living by beliefs that were given to you, or are you going to create beliefs that empower you? Are you going to keep recycling the old story? Or are you going to write a new one? Because your beliefs are not just words in your head. They are the foundation of your future. And if you want to control your mind, you must reprogram your beliefs to match the life you want. Because the moment you change your beliefs, you change your destiny. If your beliefs shape the reality you live in, then the fuel that drives those beliefs into action is your emotions. This is where most people lose control, not because they don't have potential, not because they don't have intelligence, but because they let their emotions run them instead of learning how to run their emotions. If you truly want to control your mind, you must master your emotional state. Think about how powerful emotions are. One moment of anger can destroy a relationship you've spent years building. Moment of fear can keep you from making a decision that could change your future. One moment of self-doubt can rob you of an opportunity that may never come again. But on the flip side, one moment of courage can rewrite your entire life. Moment of love can heal wounds that have lasted for decades. One moment of determination can create breakthroughs people said were impossible. Emotions are the invisible force that determine the quality of your life more than anything else. The problem is, most people treat emotions like the weather. They think emotions just happen to them. They wake up and say, I hope today is a good day, like they have no say in the matter. But emotions don't just happen, they're created. The product of focus, physiology, meaning, and choice. And if you don't take responsibility for creating them, you'll spend your life at the mercy of whatever your mind and environment throw at you. Have you ever noticed how quickly your state can change when your focus changes? You're feeling overwhelmed, and then suddenly you get good news, and your whole body lights up. You're feeling stressed, and then someone makes you laugh. Suddenly the stress dissolves. That's how fast your emotions can shift. And if they can change in an instant, that means you're not a victim. You're in control. You just need to learn how to make that shift on command instead of waiting for the world to do it for you. Your emotional state is shaped first by your physiology, the way you breathe, the way you move, the way you carry yourself. Have you ever seen someone depressed? Their shoulders slump. Breathing is shallow, their head is down, their voice is weak. Their body is creating the state of depression. Now imagine someone confident. Their shoulders are back, their chest is open, their voice is strength, their eyes are alive. Their body is creating the state of confidence, which means in any given moment, if you want to change how you feel, the fastest way is to change how you move. Change your breathing, change your posture, change your energy, and your emotions will follow. The second piece is focus. If you focus on what's missing, you'll feel lack. If you focus on what you've lost, you'll feel pain. If you focus on what you can't control, you'll feel powerless. But if you focus on what you can do, on what you have, what's possible, you'll feel strength. Your emotions are the direct result of where your focus goes. And as we already said, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you want to master your emotions, you must master your focus. The third piece is meaning. Nothing in life is meaning except the meaning you give it. The same event can make one person crumble and another person rise. Why? Because of the story they attach to it. If you tell yourself, this means I've failed, you'll feel despair. If you tell yourself, this means I'm being tested, you'll feel determination. If you tell yourself, this means life is against me, you'll feel hopeless. But if you tell yourself, this means life is preparing me, you'll feel empowered. Meaning equals emotion and emotion equals life. So when people say, I can't control how I feel, that's not true. What they're really saying is, I haven't trained myself to control my focus, my physiology, and the meaning I give to things. But if you learn to take control of those three, you can shift from fear to courage, from doubt to confidence, from stress to clarity, on command. Now, let's talk about why this matters so much. Because your emotions don't just affect you in the moment, they shape your decisions. And your decisions shape your destiny. Decision made in a state of fear will not be the same as a decision made in a state of strength. A decision made in anger will not be the same as a decision made in clarity. A decision made in doubt will not be the same as a decision made in confidence. If you allow your emotions to run wild, your decisions will constantly betray you. But if you master your emotions, your decisions will serve the future you want to create. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean you'll never feel negative emotions again. You're human, you will feel fear, sadness, anger. But the difference between someone who is controlled by their emotions and someone who controls their emotions is speed. How fast can you catch yourself? How fast can you shift? Do you let anger consume you for days? Or do you breathe and shift in minutes? Do you let fear paralyze you for years? Or do you interrupt it and act in the moment? Emotional mastery isn't about, it's also about mastering the speed and direction of the shift. Think of your emotions like signals on a dashboard. They're not enemies, they're messages. Fear says, pay attention. Anger says, a boundary has been crossed. Sadness says, you've lost something you value. But once you receive the signal, you don't have to stay stuck in it. You don't sit in your car staring at the gaslight for hours. You take action. It's the same with emotions. Feel them, acknowledge them, get the message, and then shift into the state that serves you. And the more you practice this, the more powerful you become, because emotions are contagious. When you walk into a room with energy, certainty, joy, people feel it. When you walk in with doubt, anger, negativity, they feel that too. If you want to lead, if you want to influence, if you want to create impact, you must learn to generate the emotions that empower not only you, the people around you. So the question is, are you running your emotions or are your emotions running you? Because make no mistake, they are shaping your life whether you control them or not. Every action you take, every relationship you build, every dream you chase is either fueled or destroyed by the emotions you allow to dominate you. And if you truly want to control your mind, you must master your emotions. Because when you master your emotions, you master your life. If there's one thing that separates those who master their mind from those who are controlled by it, it's consistency. Because knowing what to do once in a while isn't enough. Feeling inspired once in a while isn't enough. The mind is like a muscle. It doesn't grow because you work once it grows, because you condition it every single day. And the truth is, without daily rituals, without consistent practices that strengthen your mental discipline, will pull you back into distraction, negativity, and fear. Think about it. You don't brush your teeth once and expect fresh breath for life. You don't eat one healthy meal and expect to be fit forever. You don't go to the gym one time and expect lifelong strength. It's the same with your mind. If you want it sharp, disciplined, focused, and powerful, you need to train it every single day. The people who look unshakable, the ones who seem to walk into chaos and remain calm, the ones who live with purpose and certainty, they don't just wake up like that. They built it. They cultivated it. They created mental habits that set the tone for everything they do. The good news is you can do the same. You can build rituals that wire your mind for clarity, energy, and discipline. They don't have to be complicated, but they do have to be consistent. The mind learns through repetition. Ever you feed it daily becomes your default. If you feed it negativity, doubt, gossip, distraction, that becomes your reality. But if you feed it focus, gratitude, vision, and discipline, that becomes your reality too. The choice is always yours. So kind of rituals make the difference. It's not about copying someone else's routine. It's about building habits that prime you for the life you want. For some, it might be meditation in the morning, training the mind to be still and centered before the chaos of the day begins. For others, it might be journaling, pouring thoughts on paper to clear the mind and reset perspective. For some, it's visualization, seeing the life they're building so vividly that it feels real before it even arrives. For many, it's physical movement, because when you move your body, you change your state. And when you change your state, you shift your mind. Matters is not the form. It's the discipline, the repetition, the commitment to start your day in charge instead of reacting to whatever life throws at you. Most people wake up, grab their phone, and immediately feed their mind chaos. They scroll through news, negativity, social media comparison. They are programming themselves into distraction before they even leave their bed. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, overwhelmed, or stuck. If you wake up and you choose to feed your mind something different, gratitude, vision, focus, you are programming yourself into strength. That one shift in the first 30 minutes of your day can change the trajectory of everything that follows. Discipline is not about punishment. Discipline is about freedom. Because when you create habits that build your mind, you free yourself from the chaos of chance. You free yourself from the pull of procrastination. You free yourself from the grip of old patterns. Discipline is the act of choosing what matters most over what feels easy in the moment. And every time you do it, you strengthen your mental muscle. You're telling your brain, run you. You don't run me. And here's the thing, you don't have to wait for motivation. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. If you rely on motivation, you'll do it sometimes and skip it most times. If you rely on discipline, you'll do it no matter what. And the more disciplined you become, the more control you gain over your mind. The rituals don't just build consistency, they build identity. They start to rewire how you see yourself. You're no longer the person who procrastinates, who doubts, who quits. You're the person who follows through. You're the person who keeps promises to yourself. And that identity shift is what creates unstoppable confidence. I want you to imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you created rituals that locked in your focus, strengthened your mindset, and aligned your emotions every single day. Imagine starting each morning by deciding how you're going to show up instead of waiting to see how the world makes you feel. Imagine finishing each day by reflecting on what you accomplished instead of dwelling on what went wrong. Imagine building momentum day after day, week after week, until your mind no longer fights you but serves you. That's what's possible when you commit to daily mental rituals. And it doesn't take hours. Some of the most powerful rituals can be done in 10 minutes. 10 minutes of focus is better than a lifetime of distraction. 10 minutes of gratitude is better than years of complaining. 10 minutes of vision is better than decades of drifting. The point is not time, it's consistency. Do it every day and your mind will learn. Skip it and your mind will revert to old patterns. People ask me, how long do I have to do this? The answer is simple: for as long as you want to be strong. You don't stop training your body because you hit one goal. You don't stop eating because you had one meal, and you don't stop training your mind because you felt good one day. This is a lifelong commitment, not because it's hard, because the reward is freedom. Freedom from distraction, freedom from being at the mercy of your mind. And the beautiful thing is, once discipline is built, it becomes who you are. At first, it feels like work. At first, your mind resists. At first, it feels uncomfortable. But if you push through, it becomes automatic. It becomes effortless. It becomes your new default. Just like brushing your teeth, just like tying your shoes. You don't think about it. You just do it. That's when you know you've truly mastered control. And that's what this journey is all about. Not a quick fix, not a one-time burst of willpower. It's about creating a life where your rituals, your habits, daily choices all line up with the person you want to be. Because your future is not created by what you do once in a while. It's created by what you do every single day. If you want to control your mind, you must build rituals that control it for you. Because discipline creates freedom.